Hello, another micro practice today for which we're going to need a tennis ball. And it really needs to be a ball that is a bit soft, that you can squish a bit like a tennis ball. So not something like a foam rolling ball that's really hard, something that is a little bit soft, because we're going to work on our feet today and especially on the fascia in our feet. Not sure if you've heard about the fascia, so let me say a word to that. It's a really fascinating thing. It's the connective tissue in our body, that white stuff that for sure you have seen if you have eaten a piece of meat, a steak or so, that stuff that you actually don't want to have in your steak. It's that encasing, that wrapping around the muscle fibers and around our muscles, and that runs through our entire bodies. And especially interesting is the connection of the fascia from the feet all the way up through the back of our bodies. So you're not going to see me much today because I really want you to be able to see what we're doing with the feet. But you can imagine the fascia that runs like in a deeper layer of the skin, up all the way the back body, the back of the legs, the entire back, and all the way up into your head and your forehead is all connected. It's all one system, similar also to our nervous system or to our blood circulatory system, or however that is called in English. And it has been overlooked by science and by medicine also for a long time, and kind of just cut away when dissections were done as something that's annoying. But it's actually been discovered that it plays a quite important role for the well-being of our bodies. But there is somebody who can explain that even way better than me. I posted a link together with this video, which is called the Fuzz speech, where you can also actually see what that looks like and get a funny explanation to it. For now, what we want to do is to explore a bit the fascia in our feet. So you find a surface that is not too slippery, so wooden floor and tennis ball usually doesn't work so well together. That's where the yoga mat comes in really handy. You find a stand behind your tennis ball and bring your right heel onto the ground and place the foot, the sole of the foot on top of the tennis ball, so that the tennis ball is in the middle of your foot, both lengthwise and also from left to right. You let your toes relax, let the sole of the foot relax, and bend your knee a little and sink a little bit above or down into the tennis ball, but really just a little. Maybe you can play with what feels like an intense pressure here versus what's a light pressure, and then try to find a medium pressure. So one that doesn't irritate the tissue, but just gently stimulates it to let go and also rehydrate. So you can, on the inhale, lean in a little, medium pressure, exhale, release, lean out. And keep doing that for a couple of times, maybe 30 seconds to a minute is usually a good time for our fascia, just what it needs to get enough stimulus and signals to know, I can rehydrate now. It's like you can imagine it like a sponge that if you, how do you say, you squish it, you squish it, you squash it, I don't know in English. You push it and you release all the fluids from it. And when you release that pressure, the fluids are soaked back in, right? And the same thing happens with the fascia, that when you release the pressure, they get the signal of, I can rehydrate again. Because, and we're gonna move on to the next movement here, now bring that tennis ball to the point just before your heel. So not right under the heel, not on your heel bone, but just a bit closer to your toes. Bring the toes, the ball of the feet down towards the ground. And same movement here. Find a gentle medium pressure with your leg onto the tennis ball and release. In and out. Gentle pressure, move in, move out. Our fascia, they tend to get really fussed up and really messed up when we do not move enough, when we hold certain body parts or our entire body too still and too stiff for a long time. And then what happens is that those fascia, they cannot glide very well anymore over each other. So that gliding motion is what makes our movement smooth and also pain-free. I'm sure you've seen a cat when it gets up in the morning or after a little nap. What is the first thing it does? It stretches itself out, it moves, it releases any stagnation, any fuzz in the fascia. And that's also a bit what we're doing here with the tennis ball. Okay, so now same spot where you are, find your medium pressure again and wiggle gently from left to right. So you're moving across the sole of the foot and kind of releasing all the fluid from your sponge there. Left and right, slow movements and not too much pressure. Beautiful. Then, next one, bring the tennis ball underneath the ball of your big toe and start to roll from the ball of your big toe towards your heel. So the tennis ball is drawing a line from your toe to your heel, and you can do this for each toe, moving as you go along, and maybe this needs a little bit of practice also to make this a smooth movement. Again with a medium pressure, not irritating the tissue, just giving them an invitation to rehydrate, heal, soften. And as you do this, move back and forth, or not back and forth actually, only do this in one direction. Always from the ball of the feet to the heels, only one direction, that we want to kind of push all the fluids out. And as you do this, also move left and right so that you cover eventually the entire sole of your foot. Moving to the inner arch of the foot, moving to the outer arch of the foot. Nice. Let the tennis ball be and find a stable stance. Place both feet parallel and down and close your eyes for a moment. Find a really relaxed stand and sense into the soles of your feet. How do they feel now? How do they compare to each other? What feels maybe a little different on the right side now than on the left? Perhaps it feels like the right foot is lying a little flatter on the floor, as if more of its surface was connected to the ground. Perhaps it also feels like there is more cohesion, more connection through the entire back of your right leg, all the way up into the lower back. Maybe it doesn't feel like that. Maybe you notice something else. What is it like? Take a moment to observe. And shift your weight into your right foot. Bring the tennis ball underneath the left. We come to the other side. Again, heel on the ground. And tennis ball in the middle of your foot. Both lengthwise and from left to right. Finding that center here. Letting the toes relax. And with the heel on the ground, leaning gently into the tennis ball. Remember, you want to have a medium pressure here. In and out. And very important also what we just did, this sensing into the change, the difference, is because our fascia are actually a sensory type of tissue. They help us a lot to sense, to feel in our bodies, and stimulating them can change really that sensation. In and out 2-3 more times. And then stay. Knitting, take a deep breath here, relax your foot even more on the exhale. Beautiful. Release and bring the tennis ball back to that point just in front of your heel. And here, same thing, start to bring the ball of the feet onto the ground, start to lean in and out. Medium pressure. Gentle. And a couple of more times. Really like 30 seconds is all it needs. Take an inhale, lean in. Not more than medium pressure, and exhale to stay, relax even more around the tennis ball. Let the tennis ball melt that fuzz in your fascia. And then release. Start to wiggle the tennis ball here underneath your heel from left to right. Kind of the ball of the big toe is staying stable. The heel is gently moving from left to right with a consistent pressure. Great. I also really love to do this before going on a hike or before going running or after also. It can feel so good in the feet. And then release. Bring the ball underneath the ball of the big toe and start to roll it back towards the heel. Flip it back and roll always in the same direction from the ball of the feet to the heel. As you keep doing this, make sure you're eventually covering the entire sole of your foot. So you'll move inwards a little towards the arch, the inner arch of your foot. You move outwards towards the outer arch. Whoops! Maybe you lose your tennis ball. Yes, that happens to me all the time. Couple of more iterations. And I just realized I actually forgot one really important step on the right side. Sorry for that. I'm gonna do it now. So one last time, rolling back to the heel. And now bringing a very light touch onto your tennis ball and just scribble around your entire sole of your foot with a really light touch. Covering the entire sole of your foot, just moving in any way that feels good. To invite the lymphatic system as well to transport off whatever has been released from this fascial release here. Any stuff we don't need, inviting the lymphatic system to transport that off. Let the tennis ball go. Place your foot parallel to the other. Find a relaxed stance. Close your eyes and sense into your feet. What does it feel like now? How are the two sides more similar again now? How does your foot stand on the ground? Do you observe anything along the back side of your body, running up the back of your legs, your back? And what feels good, most importantly? Is there anything that feels good, and do you want to continue exploring with your tennis ball? If so, I'm happy. I'm happy also to hear from you how this landed. So let me know and see you again tomorrow.